In this grade 12 accounting video, we are looking at the September Preparatory Paper 2 exam scope for the accounting prelims that are coming up. We have already done the paper 1 scope, so if you haven't started writing your accounting yet, make sure that you start with that one and then you continue to this one. But if you have already seen the paper 1 and have already covered the paper 1, this is where we deal with paper 2 exam scope for prelim. We still have availability and capacity for the accounting sessions for virtual classes. So if you're interested in joining us for either the repeat class for accounting paper 1 or the 2 classes for accounting paper 2 that we are here to do, for the pricing quotation as well as to book yourself a session, all you have to do is simply email me at priscilla.sanelane@gmail.com. On the subject line you can simply write exam prep. The first topic on the scope of your paper 2 is the reconciliation statement. We have 3 reconciliation statements that you need to worry yourself with. We are very familiar with the bank reconciliation, and a lot of students, when they think of the topic of reconciliation, the topic they think of actually studying is a bank reconciliation. And while it is very important for you to know your framework for a bank reconciliation and all that is required to successfully complete a bank reconciliation, it is also important that you recognize that in the exam you will be more than likely required to either also do a debtors reconciliation or a creditors reconciliation. So at least one of them you have to be prepared for. I would be safe and prepare both of them. They do not have a statement like a bank reconciliation does, but it's basically of you just knowing the language that is used and how to deal with transactions when you're dealing with a debtor as well as when you are dealing with a creditor. So if you know how to do one of them, more than likely you just need to know the different terminology for the other one, but the processing is more also the same, or rather the accounting, it's more also the same. So you have to get in the practice of knowing how to do a debtors reconciliation as well as a creditors reconciliation. Know how the difference between a debtors list and a debtors ledger and how do you reconcile them. The same thing will apply to a creditors list as well as a creditors ledger. So you can see that it's more or less the same thing, and the treatment of it is kind of like the same process, except it requires the opposite treatment. So the process is kind of the same, the logic in the reasoning is the same, but the treatment is opposite. The second topic in your paper 2 scope is inventory systems. With inventory systems, what is normally tested at matric level in terms of the 2 systems that we have, as you know, we have the perpetual as well as the periodic. Now the perpetual is what you have been doing from lower grades up until this point. So in matric we are more interested in testing the periodic systems in terms of calculations. So get comfortable with your periodic system calculations. What do I mean by those? Can you calculate cost of sales using the periodic system? Can you calculate the amount of closing stock using the periodic system? And that's where our inventory valuation methods come in. We have the first in first out method, so be able to calculate your closing stock using your first in first out method. You be able to do the same thing with a specific identification method as well as the weighted average method. And then we also have the issue of internal control when it comes to inventories. So this is where we calculate things like the amount of stock that is missing. So there, can you calculate the value of stock that is missing? Can you calculate or rather, can you give recommendations on how to keep the stock safe in the storage, meaning things like the installation of CCTV cameras? Basically, we're trying to make sure that how can we minimize theft of the stock so that what we are selling and recording on the box is going to match what is this physical stock count in the storage room. So basically that's what the internal control is. It's in a way the theory of inventory. So when I say the internal control, I basically just mean the theory of inventory. Get comfortable with the theory of inventory. It is going to be a lot of recommendations, a lot of calculations of missing figures and so forth. also not going to forget value added tax. With value added tax, we know that it's an integrated question, so usually it will either be part of the reconciliation question or be part of the inventories question. So it will be integrated into one of those questions, meaning that it will be part of those questions. So that's what we call an integrated question, meaning that it's not going to stand alone. You're not going to have a question 3 that is just value added tax, if I'm making sense. Value added tax is going to be in question 1 with reconciliation, or in question 2 with inventories. That's what we mean by an integrated question. What is tested with a value added tax is your ability to calculate the amount of VAT that is payable or receivable from SARS. To do that, you need to be comfortable with your VAT input versus your VAT output, as well as your fractions. Then we are back to our standalone topics, and one of them is going to be manufacturing, which is the cost accounting. With cost accounting, what we are interested in you knowing is the production cost statement. The production cost statement has a framework. Usually you will be required to just fill in sections of the production cost statement, so it is important for you to study the framework so that you know what is expected and where does each calculation belong to. Within it, you will find the need to be able to calculate direct material as well as your direct labor, so make sure that you get comfortable with those calculations, as well as a factory overhead cost. With factory overhead, it's also important to note that you are aware what types of items fall under factory overhead costs, because it's not just anything that falls in there. Then you will end your studying with the calculations of break-even point. The last topic on your scope is the topic of budgeting. Within budgeting, we have a debtors collection schedule and a creditors payment schedule. Now, these two schedules happen to be what is one of the things that can be most challenging when it comes to budgeting, not because they are difficult, but because they are easy to forget. So practice is going to be your best friend when it comes to this, because they are one of those things that you know, once you know them, you know them, but if you haven't gotten there, it will require you practice in terms of knowing how to collect on a month-to-month basis, as well as how the creditors are being paid. So you have to pay specific or careful attention rather to the policies on the percentages that we are collecting and when we are paying them. And when it comes to creditors, you need to know which debt from which month am I paying in the current month. It is not always, or not even advisable, that the credit that I took this month I will pay this month. So you have to pay careful attention to this month, which credit am I paying, and then with that, add to your information the cash budget itself, especially the calculations within the cash budget statement. Usually they don't give you a full statement to calculate, but they will give you calculations within it, and then end with the comments.
Have YouTube recommend you more of my videos, be sure to click the like button and subscribe to the channel, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below.